This episode is brought to you in collaboration with Stamford Botanics, your go-to destination for beautiful, thriving plants. Visit stamfordbotanics.co.uk to explore their collection. Welcome to Exist Better Conscious Conversations. I'm so excited to have Shakila on the podcast today. Shakila will be talking about her journey to finding conscious connected breath and medicine tribe. I hope you enjoy. Welcome, Shakila, to the podcast.
Thank you so much. It's so lovely to be here.
It's so lovely to have you here. And we were just having a conversation before we came on about how we both made a lot of changes during lockdown. And I'm wondering if that's when you came to all of this?
Yeah, so interestingly, it was just before COVID. And what was that? March 2020, when things really kicked off in this country and we went into lockdown and what have you. I had my first one-to-one breath experience in November of the year before. And it changed everything. So by the time COVID happened, I was just about to sign on the dotted line to study. And because of the changes that came with the pandemic, it actually changed the class to an online situation. And it's really heavy on biology and physiology and a very sort of science based, which is not my forte. So I was really like, no, I need to do this in person, and actually delayed doing it because I didn't want to do it online, to then a year later ending up doing it online with somebody with a school in Bali anyway. Yeah, things always work out like that, don't they? Yeah. During COVID, it was just a case of I was breathing every single morning and every single evening, and, just various techniques that I could find online was and still is such an incredible resource.
Yeah.
And I am absolutely sure it helped keep me sane.
Wow. And why breathwork? What was it that made you go, I actually think I might need to go to a breathwork session originally?
Gosh, that's such a good question. And there's so many layers to this. How to nutshell it. So I think, in 2008, I started my own inward journey.
Okay.
And, that's potentially going back a little bit too far, but it's relevant. So started in 2008 with receiving Reiki, and was really of the opinion that, or the kind of so naive, so naive. I'm going to have these 10 treatments. It's going to be amazing. And I'm going to be so fixed afterwards. The way we do, right? It's just like this is going to be such a short journey. And 2025, here we are, with such an understanding now of the depth of, kind of like once you start that, there's no turning back. But there have been many, many times when I wish like, I want to get back on the old treadmill. It's just, you can't unknow and you can't unlearn the things that you learn on the journey, right?
So true.
So Reiki, receiving Reiki was the first understanding of how much of an onion we are. And that just really set me off on a path. So I had Reiki when I was living in the Middle East, and I loved the clearing of it. I was so high after every Reiki session. My energy levels were through the roof, and I guess because it was so surface level, the first sort of the peel that comes off initially had really, really, really high impact. And then I loved it so much. I trained in Reiki, so received my attunement and my Reiki level 1 in 2009. Was in the Middle East until 2016. And when I came back, went through a huge family trauma. And that sent me even deeper inwards, and it was essentially major heartbreak that made me go, okay, I need to look at this more like, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? So In life in general, truly I'm an advocate that variety is the spice of life, and I will try pretty much anything once. The landscape in the Middle East in terms of healing modalities was pretty barren at the time. And yeah, right. And when I moved back here, in the decade I'd been away, the landscape in primarily in London, had changed so much. When I left, a lot of healing stuff was still seen as very woo-woo, and you had to like dig quite deep for it. I moved back to London and it was everywhere, and there were so many different things for me to try. So I tried everything. Breathwork didn't find me until later, about 2000 and, what did I say, 18? It was 18 or 19. I actually think it was 2018. But anyway, so I tried it then, and it was because a really, really dear friend had trained in it and was like, oh my goodness. And it was like, yeah, sure. She didn't live in this country. When she was visiting London, she came to my house. It was the first time I'd ever breathed consciously at all. We did this first one-to-one, mind blown. And I knew that day that I would at some point train as a breath facilitator, as a breath worker. Wow. Yeah, it was incredible. So the breath technique that we breathed was conscious connected breath, which is what I then went on to specialize in, train in and specialize in. Conscious connected breath is breathing in a circle. When we breathe on a day-to-day, because breath is an automated thing that we do. So like the beating of the heart, we don't think about it. Our body just does. So when we breathe normally on a day-to-day basis, it's very normal for us to inhale, micropause, exhale, micropause, or breathe in a triangle, which is inhale, exhale, micropause. So there's always there's always a pause in our breath somehow, somewhere. And that's really normal. So conscious connected breath is breathing in a circle without a pause. So you are always inhaling or always exhaling. When you change your breath, regardless of the technique, you change the messages to your brain. You change the balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen within the body. It literally changes our physiology. And so that changes the way that we are operating. It changes the way we're reacting. It changes the way we do everything. Primarily with conscious connected breath, it's a vigorous inhale, filling your body as much as you can, really breathing like deep into the belly. And on the exhale, the release is a lot softer. So there's, sort of like really vigorous inhaling. And then you're almost just like allowing the breath to return, like to escape the body on the exhale. So zero effort. And it can be a lot to think about. It can take a session or two to really sort of develop the understanding of the technique, but also mostly just the trust in yourself. Because at some point the body takes over, the breath takes over, and you find yourself being breathed. And that is the state that we want to reach. And once you reach that, the mind clicks off, the body takes over. And part of me doesn't want to use the word magic because I use it so much when I'm talking about breath, but it's the perfect word.
I agree. It's magical. Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful thing for us all to do. I'm never going to tire of calling it, for me, the world's biggest, like the universe's biggest cosmic joke, because it's right here, it's like it's right under our nose. We can all do it. We can all do it anywhere, and we can do it all the time, anytime. Conscious connected breath especially is so deep. It's so cleansing. It's so clearing. It's so healing. And because we're creating such a big alteration within our internal systems, we're clearing meridians, we're energizing our chakras, are breathing, just the intention of the breath. It's releasing huge emotional blockages that we don't even know are sitting again around our energy centers or around organs or in our heart space or, just somewhere in our energy body. Just, if it's in our frequencies, the breath will go to whatever you need the most that day. breath isn't prescriptive. So, you can't say, hey, I've got a headache today, or I'm feeling XYZ from something that happened to me 3 years or 23 years ago. Whatever it is that you need the most in that moment, breath will decide. The divine innate knowledge and wisdom of breath will work its magic.
So true. You can't just go in and say, this is what I want to clear. No, I've got other plans for you.
Yeah, exactly. Intention is key with any of this work, right? So you can always set that intention. And if it is what you need the most that day, then breath will go there. But you said it perfectly. I have other ideas today.
Always the way. Yeah. And you never know what kind of reaction you're going to have either. Or what emotion's going to come up. It's so different every time.
So true. Yeah, so true. That's such a good point to make. Literally no experience is ever, ever, ever the same. The conditions, the intentions, everything can be exactly the same. But ultimately you are not, because you're renewed and you're changing in absolutely every single moment. So whether it's the next day or the next week or the next month or the next year, the one thing you can guarantee about the breath is that no two experiences will ever be the same.
It's so true. I mean, I've been beside somebody who's asleep and I'm like, really?
Were they snoring? Okay, all right. So that's not so bad. But again, in one-to-ones and group sessions, people can often feel really disappointed because they've just fallen asleep. But again, the guidance that's being provided throughout the gathering is still being received subconsciously. If you've fallen asleep, you just need to trust that it is absolutely what the body needed the most in this moment. So the process of you pre-falling asleep, you're still breathing consciously. Even if you only take 5 conscious breaths a day, right, that's still going to have an impact. So say it takes you 20 minutes to fall asleep, in an hour's breath work, you've still been breathing consciously for 20 minutes. So again, the magic, it's taking effect. It's affecting your insides. It works on every single one of our bodies. So emotional, physical, mental, spiritual. You just don't know where it's going. And people often will fall asleep and sort of wake up like they've been lucid dreaming, and so it's just, kind of like, where am I? And like, sort of mumble or, talk into like the middle of their experience, which they can't be sure, sort of like, even was it, what, like, did that take place in this room? Did it really happen? Was it a dream? And so there's the, kind of, the reassurance that, you think you've been asleep, you feel like you've been asleep, but your frequencies have been hard at work.
I agree. Because obviously we live in a society where everyone is really stressed out. Anxiety is off the scale and our autonomic nervous systems are kind of in overdrive all the time. So sometimes in a situation like that, the body just needs rest. And it needs to kind of work on calming everything down.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, because we're so consistently in fight or flight.
Yes.
Massively activated nervous systems, vagus nerve on all the time. Oh, I'll take the nap. I'll take the snooze.
Yes, completely. You can rest.
Please rest.
Yeah.
Please rest.
Yeah, we're so busy doing all the time. But so if somebody wants to go to, say, a breathwork session with you, either one-on-one or in a group, what could they expect when they go in?
Yeah, so it's such an interesting question because the format remains the same, and that's all. The best thing is to have zero expectations, and that's such a hard thing to manage, because you hear such big claims about breath. And I was really lucky because when I had my first breath experience, I literally knew nothing, so I had zero expectations. So essentially you will arrive, and whether or not this is one-to-one or in a group. You'll arrive at the venue, and sometimes, if it's one-to-one, sometimes I'll come to your home. Sometimes it's at larger events. Sometimes it's at my home. There are various different options. You'll arrive. Sometimes we do embodiment to start with. And this is essentially 15 minutes-ish of movement and shaking, So we'll ground, we'll do a very, very quick meditation. We'll arrive in the moment. You and I, or me, myself and the group, will also breathe together. And this is for us just to literally arrive in the moment, but also to connect with each other's energies, whether that's me plus 1 or me plus 10. So we all familiarize ourselves. We take a few grounding breaths together, and then we get into the movement. So the embodiment's really, really important, because a lot of breath work is in the physical, and essentially we're just waking up the body. It's that chance to give the blood, like everything that's internal, like an opportunity to start really, really slowly with the breath, tune into a part of the body that either you can feel you're carrying something heavy in from the day, or hurts, or the music that's playing resonates in a certain part of your body. And then we move that around. And as we move that around in the body, we actually start to then move the body as well. And by the end of this sort of 15 minutes-ish, you're feeling really kind of hyped up, and the body's energized, and you can feel the tingles in all the different parts of your body. And when you like put your palms close to each other like this, you can feel your own energy field and everything. And that's just such a beautiful warming and preparation for the body to receive the breath, because ultimately the action of breath is physical, and we're using our human bodies to create whatever's coming that day. So we start with that. And then from there on in, it's an hour session. So for the first half, we're breathing really actively. Lying down. Everybody's lying down. Absolutely. So you'll create a nest, get nice and warm, get nice and cozy. And, we'll take a few minutes again to to settle into the moment. So there's different kinds of meditations, depends on the day, depends on whether or not there's a theme, depends on whether or not it's a one-to-one, depends on whether or not you've come with specific requests for healing or addressing certain issues. But essentially it's that, kind of relaxing into the moment, grounding with mother, connecting with nature, softening everything, really feeling where you are. Depending on the situation, if it's a seasoned breather, we'll just get straight into the active, conscious, connected breath. If it's not, I'll use a track or two to bring people really into their bodies and to connect with the technique. And I find this really, really, really beneficial. Conscious connected breath sounds like a lot because of the things that you're being asked to do. Breathing in a circle is strangely hard to do, but that's mostly because breathing consciously for so many, by the time they arrive, on the mat with me, it's the first time they're doing that. What even does conscious breathing mean? So there is quite a lot to take on. I might use a couple of tracks to just sort of familiarize yourself with the pattern, identify and get used to some vocabulary and things like that.
Like doing it slower?
Yes,
trying
that's
it out.
right. More slowly. The activating part of conscious connected breath is that we are breathing in really, really deeply and really, really vigorously. That part of it's really, really vital to the activation of our insides. And that's the sciencey part. You really need to do that to create the alteration in your physiology. This is what switches the balance of our carbon dioxide and oxygen within our bodies from normal to activated, and hopefully activated enough that it activates the pineal gland. And that's the goal.
Yes.
That's the good
I
stuff,
love that goal.
right?
Yes.
Good stuff right there. Again, when people are like, oh, okay, right, so I'm breathing in to full capacity, and I need to exhale, and preferably not to full capacity. Don't exhale fully, and no, my pineal gland, what is that, and where is it, and am I breathing enough? And so back of the mouth, back of the throat, chest, and belly, whoa, she's telling me to breathe into my toes. This is a lot to take on. So if you're new, we're going to do this gradually.
I love that.
And yeah, it can be disappointing. For full transparency, it can be really disappointing for people who come and don't have that breakthrough in the first breath session. And I completely get that. However, same as anything, it is a process. You know, you don't go to the gym and first time you're there, like bench press like 60 kg.
Yeah.
You know, so it's if you're ready, it is the most beautiful thing to engage with, because it's the benefits are like far too many for me to list here, but I will share something with you so that, you know, it can be shared with your listeners and readers and viewers and what have you, your audience. But it's just so all encompassing, and again, works on all of your different bodies. The question is, why wouldn't you breathe, not why would you breathe?
Wow. So does it come really naturally now to you?
It does now.
Easier to do.
Yeah, definitely much easier to do and much easier to connect with. I think very much like yoga and meditation, you know, those particular or those specific actions connect you to a state of mind. Breath work connects you to a specific state of mind, but also a specific state of physicality. So, you know how when you first meditate, you know, whatever your method's been, you're thinking, oh, I'm not doing this right. I'm not doing this right. The breath is exactly the same. And once you've, you know, once you've connected, once you've literally experienced that bliss state, you know, I think it's largely about self-trust, self-confidence. Yeah, you know, once you know you can, it's very, very, not always easy to connect with, because there are so many external factors and, you know, and the biggest one being monkey mind, of course. Like, are you going to be able to lie down and switch all of that off, you know, or think about, are my straighteners still on? And, you know, what time do I pick the kids up? And, you know, oh my God, I've literally just been shopping and I forgot to get the dog food. So again, it's that, you know, recognizing the activations that are happening in your body and knowing that, oh, I know this is the doorway. I know this means that I'm connecting, I'm activating. And yes, so again, back to the analogy of the gym, once you start to see the definition coming, that is your motivation. Yeah. Breathwork can be a huge leap of faith because it's not tangible. I kind of wish it wasn't like that, but I also really, really love the fact that it is like that, because it does require the leap of faith. You do have to trust, and you have to be at a certain part of your readiness to be able to do that. Does that make sense?
I totally agree. Yeah, because it is a lot, and you have to be willing to let go as well. You know, let whatever needs to come out, come out. There's a surrendering in it.
It's the perfect word. Absolutely, the surrendering. And one of my most blissful states during training, I'm sure my friend won't mind me sharing this, but he was using music that was from the 80s, and it was all music that I really, really, really loved. I had a sort of prejudgment, I guess. I wasn't aware of that, but I had a prejudgment that, oh no, you can't breathe to that kind of music. It's not what I use. I mean, that's probably like a whole nother podcast by itself.
On the music.
Yeah. But anyway, so I was like, okay, Anna, you know, and I'm just not really feeling it. So this is another thing that comes with practice, and staying in your surrender is knowing that the monkey mind and the expectation makes it harder. It keeps that, you know, sort of like that bliss state further away. And actually, the only thing you can do is breathe into it. It's just keep breathing. And I was breathing, you know, some kind of pattern. I certainly wasn't doing conscious connected breath. And I was lying on my bed in this guided breath session, really enjoying the music. But I'd already decided, fully mentally decided, it wasn't going to happen for me today, because, you know, I can feel myself, like I'm not really there. I'm not really in the mood. I'm not really in the right space, what have you. Minutes after deciding that, just had like the most stunning breakthrough. And I don't use the word God lightly. I really, really don't. There's so many different ways to describe it, I guess, and they're all escaping me right now. But that day, I literally felt so connected with God, whatever it is that we identify with, universe, source, whoever, whatever. We were so connected. I felt the connection arrive, and sort of trying to sustain that for, I guess I was in that state for about 10 minutes, which was just so beautiful. And, kind of observing the thoughts on the edges coming in of, no, you and not trying to keep those away so that it didn't interrupt the process and the connection. So again, this comes down to the surrender, the faith, the leap of faith, the trust that, but how do we do it? How do we stay connected? And the answer is in the breath. So as part of the guidance, when you're on the mat and you're having your breath, it's part of my responsibility to understand where you're at in your journey, so that if it looks like you're not breathing, you probably aren't. And that's because you have detached and you've gone somewhere really, really beautiful in your bliss state. It's not for me then to interrupt you and bring you back to your body, because when you've disassociated it, or when you've gone somewhere else in that time and space, the last thing you need or want is for me to be going, okay, so Ashley, what you need to do now is breathe.
Come back to you, to your body.
Absolutely not. We're breathing to experience other things, other realms, other dimensions.
Yes.
So part of my my responsibility in my guidance is to understand where you are in that process. So this is what we do for the first half. So for the first half an hour, the music, my guidance, and the pace of the breath will be guided to create sort of, a big charge in your body. We're breathing harder, we're breathing more faster, we're breathing more deeply. And that's where the guidance to breathe into the toes and out through the toes and whatever comes in eventually. It's very common for people to experience big releases, all different kinds of emotions. And that can literally range from a series of sneezes for somebody who doesn't have hay fever, sneezing like for 2 minutes, like they have hay fever, bursts of laughter that by the time you've kind of like expired your breath, by the time like you've run out of breath, take a big inhale to laugh again, and yet in the next breath you're crying and don't know why. And for new breathers, it can be a bit strange. Oh my gosh, where are all these emotions coming from? And I don't cry, I don't express myself. And if you don't cry and you don't express yourself, then come and breathe. This is exactly why we do it, right? The body keeps the score, we know that,
right?
And one of the best books I've ever read, it was a really key part of my training, was The Presence Process. And throughout it says the only way out is through, the only way out is through, the only way out is through. I haven't yet, but at some point I'm definitely getting that tattooed on me, because it's not just for breath, it's for everything. Face it, what breathwork is doing is helping us do that, learn how to face things so that we can get through it. So this first half, we're building up to what everybody has a different name for it. We were sort of taught it's your personal peak, and you are breathing, exaggerating the depth of breath. The guidance is always to stay connected to breathing the circle of life, inhaling life force. The no space in the breath is really important. And it's not always possible to do, the mind does take over, and that's okay. That's why I'm there, to remind you and bring you back. At the point of once we reach the midway point, depending on various things, I may or may not guide you to do the deepest, juiciest inhale you've ever done and hold your breath.
I love that.
Do you? Why do you love it so much? Tell me.
I just feel like I could stay in it forever. It just, I don't know what the conscious connected breath does, but it just means, yeah, I can hold it for a really long time or something.
Oh, it's beautiful,
Yeah.
isn't it? And you feel like you're nowhere and
Yeah,
everywhere,
floating away.
right?
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Lack of need to breathe. You're in a breathwork session. It's like you came to
Yes.
breathe, and all of a sudden what you've discovered through it is that actually I really need a lot less of this than we believe.
Oh my God, I love
Yeah, it's yeah, me too. It's so, so, so beautiful.
Yeah.
So I may guide you to do a single hold. I may not guide you to hold at all. I may guide you to do a double hold. Again, it varies from person to person, to situation, and to, you know, like to various physical things and what have you. It's possible at that point of holding that some people disassociate, and I have experienced this a few times. So if we are breathing newly together, obviously we'll have been through contraindications and your medical history and things like that, which I won't go into too much now, but depending on that will depend on whether or not we are doing a hold, whether or not we're doing one or two, and how long and short. But if we're breathing together for the first time, even if there's one, it will be short, and then we'll expand that over time, because it's essential for me to see how you are responding and how you're reacting. When people disassociate in that space, there can be various fits and, you know, all different kinds of things that can happen. So safety is paramount. Safety is always, always, always the driving factor all the way throughout this. So after the hold, the music changes, my guidance changes, I kind of disappear into the background. You will continue breathing circular through the mouth for a short while, but due to the change in music and due to the pace that you're breathing and due to the sort of the lack of my guidance, like the removal of my guidance, everything changes. And after that hold, when you're able to just sort of have that moment, and again, everything, you can feel yourself so physically, if you're still in your body.
Yeah. If you're still present.
You know, then that kind of that moment of silence post hold, everything starts to come in. You know, you just receive messages and stories and physical stories as well. You know, you can feel the blockages that you had no idea were there, leaving your wrist or your knee or your hip. It's so unbelievable, and yet so very believable, because it happens all the time. The physical effect that it has as well. So anyway, so we do that for a few minutes, and then after a few minutes of usually the music, it's very profound at this stage. So it might be almost silence, just sort of something that's twinkling in the background, that it just really grounds you in the moment, so that all you can hear is only internal. Or the guidance might be something that's a really, really beautiful poem or something like that, that's really guiding you towards your divinity. And in that state, it's such a beautiful time to receive that, because A, you're so connected. B, you're usually like really blissed out. You know, everything about you is so open. So you might have heard that song or that poem or a prayer or whatever it is 100 times before. But when you're receiving it at that moment, you receive it so differently. It lands so differently. And then the next sort of 20 minutes or so are about really returning you to your body in the safest way possible. So after a few minutes, you'll return to nostril breathing, still circular. And again, the guidance is to breathe circular through the nostrils. But by this point, most people have checked out in some way and, you know, are in their own process, are in their own breathing pattern and what have you. I am with you, on you, monitoring you, watching you, feeling you, sensing you, feeling into you, connected to your energy the entire way through this. So it's generally, Ashlyn's good, like leave her to it.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, I'll start, sort of my guidance will be bringing you back into your body. And we start with gratitude for the experience. for the perfect vessel that the body has been, because regardless of whatever your experience has been, your body has been the perfect vessel. And sharing gratitude constantly for that is really important. And we'll take a few more minutes to sort of, when the mind is kind of back in the body and more coherent, we'll take a few moments to register the stories. What came through to me today. Register it in the conscious mind, bringing it back with you, and then we end with stretches. And at that point, there's a lot of yawning going on, and everyone's like, I don't want to go back. Can I please just stay here? And that generally does happen. You can come at the end of a breath session, you might feel really energized and, kind of like, I want to go for a run, or I want to go to the gym, or, you might need a bath. You might just want to go straight to bed.
You might feel high.
And you might feel very high, right? And I mean, ultimately, that's the hope, and it's a tricky one to speak into, because it's obviously not the intention, but big old side effect, folks. Like, we're not going to lie, it's evil, isn't it? And for a lot of people as well who are weaning themselves off literal physical addiction, this it's such a beautiful next best step for exactly that reason. Like, you're still getting the high, but because it's affecting you in so many other ways, you stop chasing because you're going in. You stop needing because you're going in. All of these external numbing, veiling factors that that we've created in our lives are also gently, delicately, sometimes with a big old rough shake up, kind of like, you're done with this. I don't need this. Like, be gone with this emotion. Expel that experience. It ain't all sunshine and rainbows, but healing isn't, right? No. Clearing isn't, expansion isn't. And that's one of the loveliest things for me about breathwork, is that lack of being able to be prescriptive. You have no idea what's coming up. So that surrender that you mentioned earlier, what am I here for? And anything that's going to come up today, that's literally that's what you will get, as you know.
I know. Yeah, I want to talk a bit about kind of the benefits. Okay. I mean, I have had awful back pain go away by releasing some anger.
Amazing.
Yeah. So releasing, those emotions released pain in the body, like, completely. So I wonder, what benefits could people expect? Obviously, it's not guaranteed, but what have you seen?
Yeah, I love that question, and I'm so glad that you have told me about your experience instead of me sort of delivering that and saying, oh, and guess what? Like, this happens too. You already know that. I love that. Gosh, yeah, so much. So I'll speak into a personal story first, if that's okay. My spinal cord, my cervical spine is fused. At 36, I had to have 4 vertebrae fused. If you are of the school of thought that everything in the body is a reflection of life experiences and traumas and stories, etc., etc., the spine is fundamental. Like, the spine is our foundations, and this is immediate family. So we're not very close. We're just not very close. It's just the way it's always been. I was always, super strong and fine. I don't need da 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 da. And actually, what I was doing was just, kind of like, I had all my armor on, I had all my various masks on, and I was taking on the world. And my spine was going, nah, like, you need to figure this out. And it was through Reiki that I connected with that. So that I had the surgery in 2011. Fast forward to today, there's a lot of work, energy work that's been done between then and now, but it's constant. It's something that I'm still working on. Last year, I don't recall if it was last year or the year before, I through the breath training, the difference in my physicality was unreal. But because I was new to it and kind of like learning on the go, I wasn't very aware of it. But I've always considered myself since that time to be very, very tuned in, particularly with my spine and my neck and my shoulders, because I've had to be. And I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was still during training, but like towards the end, I got to a point where something was coming up and like I was breathing I was doing conscious connected breath like nearly every single day at that point. So yeah, the release, it was just such a constant shake up of everything. Like the water, like your little jar of, slightly muddy water was constantly being shaked. So it was always muddy.
Yeah.
But that, again, in turn was a really stunning part of the training, because we have to clear ourselves. We have to clear our channels to be as receptive as possible, to be able to receive you and your frequencies and, be able to tune into your energy. So it was wild, but I would do it again tomorrow. It was one of the most worthwhile things I've ever done in my life. It was hard. It was really, really difficult, but so worth it. So worth it. Truly beautiful, honestly.
Every day.
Yeah, pretty much. Like not always, but pretty much. In line with the books that we were reading as well, and the presence process. Yeah, wild ride, like really, really, really wild ride, but so transformational.
Yeah.
So utterly transformational. I literally was not the same person coming out of that as I was going into it. It was really beautiful. But yeah, so sorry, back to my spine. That's what we were talking about, weren't we? At some point, I could feel like my neck and my shoulders and my cervical spine were really locking up. And at that point, since 2011, I've seen a physiotherapist at least once, a physio-chiro and an osteopath at least once a month, every month since 2011. I started studying breath work, and by my second week, I cancelled all my appointments. Second week. What even is that? It's just literally all of that. And so maybe it was 6 or 7 months in, I could feel this tightness, like something here was locking up. And I really, really did not want to go back to the chiro or the physio or whatever. But I was very uncomfortable, physically very uncomfortable. And obviously our spine is protecting our spinal cord. And, there's everything in there is so crucial and so valuable. So a bit like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Anyway, had my physio appointment on the Monday and explained, how I felt and in which part of my body and, what I thought was needed. And she very lovely tried to action those things and wasn't able to reach any of them. The next day I had my class and the tutor was guiding that day. We were actually sitting up at our desks. And this was the first time we'd breathed this way halfway through. And it was a very short breath as well. So again, even more magic. We were breathing for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. I don't really remember, but a few minutes in, I got what I used to refer to as a neck headache, which is a migraine, which stems from all of this, all the muscles, gone into complete lockdown, but lock up actually. Yeah. Because they were trying so hard to support all the breakdown here. And it used to cause the worst migraines ever. And no medication, nothing touched it. So as I was breathing, I could feel this come on. And it was really I don't know what I'm going to do about this, because they used to make me vomit. They used to make me see sparkles and I'd have to lie down, and the nausea and the dizziness. It was just awful. Anyway, so as it was growing, I literally just heard rotate slowly. So I started to rotate my neck slowly one way, and I did that a few times, and then I did it the other way. And as I was doing it the other way, everything I'd asked for in this physio session, or everything that had been tight, was just going pop, click, pop, click. And literally the headache was just draining out through my head, down my neck and into my body. And when we finished, I was like, oh my gosh, guys, wow. You're never going to believe. And since that day, my range of movement has increased by about 20, 30 degrees on either side. And it's never reverted to like the limited movement that I'd had since the surgery in 2011.
That's wild.
Yeah. When I talk about my belief, I'm literally walking story of this. And the spine, the story, you know, everything attached to it. It's so big. So yeah, I love the impact that it has on the physical body. I'm really grateful for the impact that it has on the physical body. I've had people come to Breathe saying, oh, I've not ridden a horse for like 5 years and I feel really sad about not having been able to horse ride because I've got a backache. And have you tried da 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 da? People explain what they have tried, and I always check in with people and maintain contact after we've breathed together. And this particular lady said the following Saturday, for the first time in 5 years, I got on a horse, and she's been horse riding ever since. Small things. I mean, you say small, but like physical pain's a lot, and when it's constant, it doesn't go away. It's actually huge, isn't it? Yeah. So people who just in the breath feel like a twinge in the hip and go, that's been bugging me for the last 4 months. And by the time they're sitting up again at the end of our gathering, it's gone and it's never returned. People who are able to run again and, you know, haven't been able to because of whatever the ailment is. She's a current breather. We've been breathing together for about 8 months now. And within the first time we breathed together, through doing no exercise and no change of diet, she lost 1/2 stone in a week.
What? My God.
Isn't it nuts?
That's amazing.
Body is so phenomenal, and The Body Keeps the Score, another really, really phenomenal book. Yeah. You know, and this is all these things of safety that we've got locked up within us and we're just not aware of. Even if you don't think you've got a story, breathe, because it will find your stories. It will go to your blockages. It will release these things. Breathing equals freedom. And that's, you know, freedom to be connected to yourself, freedom to be the best version of yourself. And yes, it is a long old journey, but wouldn't you rather be on it?
Definitely. Imagine if everyone was doing this.
Okay, right. So other benefits for me personally, it was so beneficial for everything that I was experiencing through perimenopause. And, you know, it's something that's obviously never prescribed and, you know, never talked about in the perimenopause space. But I was experiencing a lot of symptoms all at the same time. And, you know, the same as many women going to the doctor, being asked 4 questions. Have I lost my sex drive? Am I having hot flushes? And I forget what the other 2, no doubt one of them was about memory. For those first 2, the answer was no. And because I was not impacted in that way, it was just, I was told at 49 that I was too old. Too young to be going through peri, you know, and it was just like, I'm nearly 50. Like this is just crazy. So I did a lot of research. Yeah. And it turns out that there are actually around 45 symptoms of perimenopause. Yeah. Oh gosh, again, that's another podcast, isn't it? Well, I'll come back for that one.
I'd love to do one on
Let's do it. On my list, I had like 28. And, you know, I was going literally from specialist to specialist to specialist. And no one would join the dots. So in the end, I was just like, I am going to breathe into this. And I started doing various different... Actually, at this point, it was the Wim Hof technique. Yeah.
I've done that too.
The world knows and loves him, don't they?
Yes.
So good, but so energizing, so powering. And I can't explain what it is about that technique that really, really worked for me. But literally in the space of 2 weeks, I felt so different. So whatever the technique is, it doesn't even have to be conscious connected breath. Like there are so many different techniques and there are so many benefits. So let's touch on the benefits like very briefly. So spiritual, first time connection to self, maintaining connection to self, understanding what higher self is, being able to live in mindfulness for many for the first time. And Physical. We've already talked through some of the physical. I'm just going to add and on the end of that again. Mental. Oh my gosh. For our mental health, breathwork is like inexplainably, is that a word? It is now.
It is now. Who cares? It's made of any.
Inexplainably such an incredible tool. It used to be thought that, it was good, and it is, but it used to be thought that it was limited to things like bringing calm in a moment, reducing your heart rate, reducing anxiety. It does all of those things. It is proven, scientifically proven these days, to be one of the most beneficial tools for CPTSD, so chronic PTSD. Breath work, again, we're back to that cosmic joke. It's right under our noses. Everyone can do it, and we're being fobbed off. We're being, all this like crazy medication is being promoted and prescribed. There's just no need. Sorry, I probably shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that there's no need, but if you are there, try breath work.
Yes,
there are so many other options. Yeah. And if you are consistent with your breath work, you will be blown away by how quickly you start to drop one tablet, then another tablet, then another tablet, then another tablet. Scientifically proven, demonstrated the world over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of times through breath work. Yeah. It's crazy. It's wild. It's insane. It's beautiful. In terms of anxiety, whether you're in the car and you're having that road rage moment, or whether it's for you or an adult partner or a young child who is having a full-on anxiety / rage / panic attack, breath work. Connect your eyes with somebody and breathe with them. It is the easiest, most accessible thing to do in the world. And it calms people instantly. But the most beautiful thing about that is that it doesn't just last for the 5 minutes. Its effects are very, very long lasting. And once you've done that once with said child or parent or adult or whoever, the next time, it's really, what's the word I'm looking for when, when it builds? I can't remember, but anyway, it builds.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's go with that. So I will share more information with you to share with your audience after this, because I'm not doing the never-ending list of benefits any justice by any means in this quick chat. So yeah, I'll come back and share more of that with you so that people can really, really see.
Yeah, and I'll share all your details so people can contact you.
Lovely. Thank you.
And I don't want to forget about Medicine Tribe. Could you tell me a bit about what you've been doing?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking about Medicine Tribe. Gosh, what to share about Medicine Tribe? So, for sure, born from breathwork, Medicine Tribe. Actually, let me backtrack a little bit. So, stay with the breathwork. Where Medicine Tribe was born. Around 8-10 months ago, I learned about the origination, the etymology of the word conspiracy. So today we all know, we all have the same understanding of the word conspiracy. Actually, the word conspiracy comes from 2 Latin words, con, which means with, together, and spirare, which means breathe. So pre-14th century.
Wow.
I know, right? Literally.
A whole new meaning.
Every time I talk about this, I've got so much, such a physical reaction to this. It's literally my soul is aligning with other souls and our cells and our DNA and memory. So conspiracy got changed in the 14th century to mean as we know today. But prior to that, it used to mean to come together in breath.
Wow.
My
God.
Drop.
I prefer that.
Just, me too. Let's bring it back in here first. with like game on, like,
Yes.
which is literally what Life by Breathing and Medicine Tribe are about. So I cannot explain the feelings it gives me to know that pre-14th century, and I'm sure actually a good bit earlier than that as well, because obviously there have been a lot of, like big influx of religions and things like that have taken over, particularly in the last sort of 2000 years. But previously, it was the solution. It's what we did, like as a family, as an individual, as a couple, as a family, as a village, as a community, as a people. When there was a problem, we used to come together in community to breathe. And that was how we resolved our solutions. That was how we found, like, together the way forward, because you have done conscious connected breath. Brings out all of our inner compassion, all of the wisdom, all of our empathy, and it helps us to live so much more in love. Can you imagine it? You, me, and everyone around us living that way.
Unbelievable.
Gosh, absolutely. But that's our job, right?
Yeah.
Is to bring back all of these beautiful ancient traditions that have been forgotten and buried. So sitting with this word, this new knowledge of what really conspiracy meant, so very, very, very activating in me. And it was just drumming up it was creating this new fire in my belly for community. And that is how Medicine Tribe came to life, because I just had this real sense of like breath work, probably to me, and the research that I've done, but obviously I've done considerably more research on breathwork than anything else. So this may not be accurate, but the thing that human has been doing for the longest time on earth is breathing. So as far as I'm concerned, we've probably been doing it literally forever as well. There are, then music, sound, movement, again, those things are as old as time itself. So Medicine Tribe, clues in the name, came from, bringing all of those different beautiful modalities, which we tend to practice separately, kind of like we'll go somewhere to dance, or we'll go somewhere to breathe, or what about bringing all of those beautiful things together and creating that community? So we're no longer just conspiring to breathe together. We are conspiring to heal and tap into all of that ancient wisdom together in one place, all in.
What an amazing idea.
Yeah, it makes me so happy. I can't explain. I've got no words.
Oh, wow. So how long has it been up and running?
So it was really kind of birthed at the beginning of this year. And the first Medicine Tribe was at the end of March this year. It was unbelievable. It was literally, could not have imagined it to be as good as it was. It was so beautiful, very, very, very humbling. The people, the area, the community, the communities. So one thing that's really, really important to me is that, there are lots of different sort of pockets everywhere, and as Medicine Tribe grows, that, it's not about like, we're different communities. This for me is very, very much about bringing as many people and different elements and different parts of each of those different communities together. So as we grow and as we expand, it will be, I don't want to use the word showcase, but I can't think of a different word at the moment. It will be a healthy, safe space for people to come and demonstrate, this is what we do, or this is what I love, whether it's a different healing modality, or whether it's about period care, or whether it's about how to really use a djembe, which is a drum. All of these different things, we are a collective, and everything about Medicine Tribe is about re-establishing that and bringing people together. Yeah, community, safety. We're a ripple. Like every time I heal, you heal.
So true.
So ultimately it's about that. This is it's coming from the heart. It's genuinely coming from the heart. This isn't about numbers. It isn't about money. It isn't about anything like that. It's about community.
I really get that. It sounds amazing, and I can't wait to go to the next one. I guess there'll be an update on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Medicine Tribe page on Instagram and
Is up and running.
Yeah.
I will share details.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So yeah, we're looking at September.
It's amazing. Oh, so excited.
Can't wait. Yeah.
And I wonder if you could just I like hearing what other people do with their time and their practices, and they don't have to be daily, or they can be regular. But I just love hearing what other people can't live without, like if it's meditation or breath, or what are you doing that kind of keeps you kind of in the good place?
Oh, that's such a good question, and so relevant, right? Because everybody does such different things.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So my daily can't live without is a cup of tea or a cup of cacao first thing in the morning in the garden. And sometimes I'll time it and sometimes I don't need to, but coherence breathing. So coherence breathing is the method of breathing in and out. You decide, nostril breath or mouth, and I to just literally tune into my body and decide, what does my body want today? And it's breathing in for the count of 6 and it's exhaling for the count of 6. And when you do that, that means you've done that 5 times in a minute. And that is scientifically proven by many different institutions across the world, but primarily the Heart Math Institute.
Yes.
Yeah,
I love it.
Oh, they're incredible, right?
Yeah.
To create the clearest, most strongest, that was really bad English, but you know what I'm saying, signal between the heart and the mind. And that ultimately is what all of this is about. That's where we're our most connected selves. That's where we're the most creative, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So those two things are my absolute go-tos in the morning. I turn my little deck chair around. I face the sun, even if it's like really miserable. I don't always go bare feet. Like I love to ground, but I have really sensitive feet.
Me
so
too.
do you?
Yes, it needs to be the right conditions.
Yeah, it really does.
Like warm.
Yeah,
and dry.
Yeah, warm and dry. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So those two things are my absolute dailies. Like I have to be learning something all the time. And while it's not new, I am currently on a refresh, a revisit. So learning, healing, clearing, all of those things, they're not linear, right? So we come back around on everything, don't we?
Yeah.
I am having a revisit on releasing the attachment to old stories. So I'm currently listening to an online course that I've purchased, which is actually about abundance. But the first few segments of it, the first few modules are about attachment and, how the story doesn't matter. And just that whole beautiful piece with, it's been coming back up. And, it's, your body tells you, doesn't it? Your mind, your 3D, everything, it's literally at you everywhere. Yes. You don't have to look very hard to know what the next piece is. And I think that particularly since I came to breath, or breath came to me, I think the most important thing for me is that I am always somehow absorbing something, learning something, even if it's a revisit. I have to say, for me, breathwork literally brought me back to life again. And yeah, it kind of feels a little bit like second chance. Make the best of it all. So
I love that it brought you back to life. Your breath brought you back.
It's
wild.
It's the cosmic joke at play again, isn't
it? It's amazing.
Yeah. So lucky. So blessed, honestly.
It's been amazing. I love this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much as well.
And I just know people are going to love this.
I hope so. I really do hope so.